Miranda, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hey, for the first time, subscribe, become a member of the Slashed Squad. Here I review products you won't feel guilty buying and do looks you can actually recreate at home. Today's look I created with a bunch of what we would call oldies but goodies. I started thinking about how a lot of beauty YouTubers will talk about the latest product, maybe we'll do a couple tutorials with them, and then we never touch them again, or we don't really talk about them again because they're old news. But I figured if it's something we're recommending, it's probably something you're gonna purchase and it's going to become part of your makeup routine or your daily rotation. So I wanted to start making more videos that did highlight, older products that are still available, they're just not like brand spanking new. So for this tutorial, I used a bunch of stuff that I hadn't used in a long time because I thought that it would be boring because they're not brand new products, but they are all still sold and available. So if you don't own these products already, then you can still, go out and buy it based on my recommendation. So this look is a very wearable halo eye. It's not super contrasty. You do have that beautiful sparkle in the middle of your lid, but on either side we do have more of a muted mauve. So I think this look is very versatile. You can wear it day and night. You don't necessarily have to change anything about it to make it more dramatic or less dramatic for certain situations. So if you want to know what throwback products I used to create this look, just keep watching. First, I'm starting out with the Rimmel Fix and Perfect Pro Primer. And this primer is on the thicker side. And for my foundation, I'm using the Rimmel Stay Matte Mousse Foundation. The main problem I had with this when it first came out a couple years ago was that it had like 6 shades in the line, something really, really limiting. They have since expanded, and I am the shade 200 Soft Beige now, and it matches me a lot better than whatever the heck I was using before, because that was dark. And to apply this, to really throw it back, I'm using the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush, the tool everyone used before becoming super obsessed with the Beauty Blender. And this has a lot of coverage. I don't remember needing concealer with this usually when I wore it. Oh yeah, just covered up those problem areas I'm having. And so with this brush, I do like to stipple after I've applied the foundation. So when I was unpacking my makeup, and that's kind of what inspired this whole tag, was I was rediscovering products that I hadn't used not only since moving, but even in LA, they were kind of in the back of my drawers. I rediscovered the Makeup Forever Pro Sculpting Brow Palette, and I used this for a real hot minute when it first came out, and then I don't know what happened. I just kind of forgot about it, and it's actually a really great brow palette. You do get a range of browns here, and then you get a concealer shade, which I've never used, and then kind of like a gel, like a translucent gel. So what I usually do is if I'm trying to go natural, I'll just use the powder, but if I want a little bit more bold, I'll mix the dark powder and the gel together, which is what I'm going to do today. Let me zoom in. So basically what I do is I'll dip into the gel here, and then I'll dip into the color on just an angled brush and start putting it down. And that makes the powder a little bit more pigmented as well. But I want to say I was using this like every day for several months back when it first came out, and I still hadn't hit pan on anything, so I like to justify the cost of the more expensive stuff in my collection. So that is my bold brow. I'm gonna do the other one. Okay, so to prime the eyes, this is something that I haven't stopped using, so it's not necessarily throwback, but the e.l.f. eyelid primer, it's $2 now, I think. It used to be $1, gasp, but yeah, it's still one of my most used primers. I'm gonna start out my eye look today using the Too Faced Natural Eyes palette. This is one of their 9-pan palettes, which cost $36. And for what you get and for how long these powders last and how they perform, that is a steal. These little palettes from Too Faced I've always thought are worth the cost, because for a higher end brand, 36 is not, you know, super breaking the bank, but you do get these shadows that perform beautifully. And I've had this for a long time. I take it every time I travel because it is just that perfect neutral palette that is no frills. It gives you really everything you need. And I do believe that they came out with another version of this that was matte, but this is the original, which is still for sale. It's still around. First, I'm gonna go into Heaven, which is a light cream shade. I'm gonna put that all over the lid. Then I'm gonna go into Nudie in the crease. So Heaven is gonna be our base shade today. And I'm just gonna blend that all the way up here and all over the lid. Now I'm taking Nudie on a really fluffy blending brush, and I'm putting that in my crease and blending upwards as my transition shade. And this is my favorite blending brush right now, is the Luxie 229, and I have a coupon code in the description below if you want to shop their brushes. So it just adds a little bit of dimension to start with. Now I'm gonna tap into Silk Teddy, which is this highlight pink, and tap that on my brow bone as a highlight. Okay, so now I'm gonna put the Too Faced palette away, and I'm going to take out a couple of old ColourPop Super Shock shadow singles. So the first one that I'm gonna be using is Tang, which I believe was part of the fall edit for 2016. It's kind of a mauve-y brown shade. And then I'm going to be doing a halo eye, so my middle highlight is going to be Meow. And this is like this interesting, it looked marbled when I first bought it, but then you kind of swirl everything together, and it definitely has kind of like a iridescent pink purple shift to it, so it's really neat. So first, going into Tang, I'm gonna apply that to the inner and outer corners of my lid, keeping the middle slightly bare, so that way we get that really strong highlight. Uh-oh. Did my Super Shock shadow dry out? Because I'm picking up like no pigment. You know, they say, screw on the cap tight. Oh, there we go. We got some pigment out of it. Whew. Well, lesson learned. Yeah, because they're like a little bit moussier, I find the ColourPop shadows to dry out if you don't close them correctly. So make sure you go and tighten all those caps when you're done watching this. Because even the matte shades, which this one is, it's just a little bit softer than other shadows I've used. Not as moussey as the other ones, but we got something going on here. And what I'm going for is like a halo eye, but something that's kind of still wearable for daytime, which is why I'm using kind of this muted mauve-y purple shade. Okay, so before I add the highlight, I'm gonna go back in to the Natural Eyes palette, and I'm going to take Cashmere Bunny, which is a slightly darker kind of cool brown shade, and I'm gonna throw that in my crease to blend out the Tang color that we just put down. So I'm just putting that right above it and helping it blend into our transition while also adding some dimension back into the corner. Back to ColourPop, I'm gonna take that Meow shade, and because this is one of their softer shimmery ones, I'm gonna use my finger because that's the best way to apply them. Look at that. Ah, it's so pretty. It's like the silvery purple pink or something. Okay, so I'm just gonna tap that onto the middle of my lid. And we're gonna pack it on because we get a lot of glitter and we want it to look even. So that's the wow of the look that can bring it into night if you want to. Next up, I'm using the Jordana Easy Liner for eyes in jet black. This is just one of those awesome classic skinny retractable liners that are like a couple bucks at the drugstore. I'm gonna use that to tight line, and then I am going to put a very thin line on the top of my upper lash line, and we're gonna blend that out to make it a little smoky. So when I put the liner on my upper lash line, I'm not gonna go like all the way across. I am gonna focus on the outer corner. So I'm gonna start kind of where the halo shade, the meow shade starts in the outer corner and then go out. So do you see what I'm saying? Like that last tang section. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm just gonna kind of lay it down there. It doesn't necessarily have to be super precise because we're just gonna blend it out. This is the Real Techniques accent brush that I'm using to do this, and with the brush I'm gonna bring a little bit down onto the lower lash line as well, again focusing on the outer corner, not bringing it in more than that. Okay, so now I'm going to curl the lashes. Now I'm gonna go in with the Rimmel Scandaleyes Retro Glam mascara. This was my favorite drugstore mascara for so long when it first came out. It's got this big fat hourglass wand, and for me it just really gives me control to get all of the lashes in one swoop. And then I'm gonna focus on the outer corner to kind of give a little bit more balance to the eye, because obviously the halo eye eyeshadow look makes your eyes look more on the round side. I'm just gonna give it a little bit more balance by flaring out my lashes. Don't forget the bottom. To contour, I'm using the e.l.f. contour palette. It's one of these 4-pan ones that they came out with, and this is still one of my favorites to travel with because you do get a nice range of shades here. A contour shade, this one's more of a bronzy one to add warmth to the face, and then the highlight in here is actually pretty darn good. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the Real Techniques contour brush, which comes in their face kit. This is an oldie but goodie that I still use very often. You probably see it in a lot of my videos. So I'm gonna go ahead and contour with the darkest shade in this palette. And this is the, I believe they have 2 versions of the contour palette. One's light, one dark. Am I right? Or is that the bronzer palette? I forgot. But it's like $6, so. So for blush, I'm using one of these classic ones from Revlon. This is like super old school. It's in the shade Hot Pink, which looks really intense in the pan, but it actually comes off pretty sheer. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tap that on my cheeks. Yeah, it's not like neon. Like when I bought it, I thought it was gonna be super, I don't know, 80s, but it actually doesn't come off that way if you're just tapping it on. Okay, gonna go back into the e.l.f. contour palette and use the included highlighter to add some glow. I will say that it is a little bit powdery, this highlighter, but it works. Hello. Okay, for lips, I'm keeping it relatively neutral. I'm using the NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream, of course, an oldie, but very, very goodie. I mean, these were so ahead of their time. When you think about all of the like velvet, matte, you know, liquid lipsticks that are coming out now, these are the OGs, you guys. So this is in the shade Abu Dhabi, and it is kind of a pinky beige, I wanna say. So I'm gonna put that on. It's almost an Your Lips But Better shade for me, a little bit warmer than my natural tone. Man, I haven't used that in forever. It's probably expired, but you know, we're not gonna talk about that. So this is the finished look. And that is the final throwback look. If you like how it turned out, hit the thumbs up button and let me know if there are other like throwback type products you'd want me to create a look with down in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, become a member of the Slash Squad. If you've done that, high five, hit the bell icon so you know every time a new video goes live. I make new videos every Saturday and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye!